name is Gio Garcia, and I'm a frontline partner here at Open Door Legal. I'm the first smiling face guests see when they walk through our doors.
Yeah. Hey y'all, my name's Evan Fathi, and I'm a housing law attorney at Open Door. You may remember me from last year's gala, just with a little less hair.
Yeah, I barely recognized you. I think I can speak for both of us when I say that I love working at ODL. For me, I get to work in my community, especially at the Bayview office. I have lived in San Francisco my entire life, so I think I'm considered a unicorn now.
Yeah, really. I mean, I moved here from SF, from Dallas for law school, and fell in love with the city enough to stick around after graduating. I now practice to defend the city's vulnerable populations by keeping them housed, thereby keeping the real spirit of the city alive. And in the spirit of the city, Happy Pride.
Yes, so we are going to be spending the next hour together. We'll have some fun, and you all at home will get to learn more about our work here. You'll get to meet 3 of our clients and their attorneys and hear about their stories.
Yes, but first, if there's anyone watching who hasn't registered yet, go to opendoorlegal.org and click on Gala. Now, we'd like to take a minute to thank all of our sponsors that are shown here on the screen. Each of these sponsors has played an integral part of making this event happen. At the neighborhood level, we have Wilfred Wayne, Littler Mendelson, Olivier Scriber and Chow, Dayspring Technologies, the Wilson Cincini Goodrich and Rosati Foundation, the Magic Cabinet Foundation, Epic Church, Boston Private Bank and Trust, Rennie Public Law Group, Dropbox, and Tenant Law Group.
At the community level, we have Davis Polk and Outman and Golden. At the protector level, we have Chartier Freeze, Good Paper, and Covington. And at the justice level, we have App Levin.
Yeah, thank y'all so much for your generosity.
So tonight, we're going to raise enough support to keep 100 families or more safely in their homes. All of you watching at home have an important role to play in preventing displacement. We are here tonight in service of transforming communities. We also have some exciting news and announcements to share with you tonight about some really ambitious work that we're doing as an organization to help San Franciscans stay safe at home. The theme of our gala tonight is Stay at Home.
Yeah, so you might hear this and wonder why we would pattern our gala after the very last thing any of us want to do. I mean, we've been at home for 1.5 years now and things are just reopening, but for many of our clients, they're just not seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Their fight just to remain in their houses and communities that they love and hold dear is still going on. That's why we are here asking you for help tonight. So it costs us just on average around $3,000 to prevent one family from getting evicted in San Francisco. And that's actually extremely cost effective. It costs that city more than 10 times that to support one person in shelter per year.
Yeah, and tonight we are very fortunate to have a generous donor who will match all gifts of $3,000 and above. So every time one of you gives to prevent one family from being evicted, your money will be doubled and you'll be helping 2 families stay at home. We'll share about that soon, and we will track all of our progress on our totalizer, which you will see right here. With each $40,000 that you give, a room will light up.
Yes, but first, we want to share with you a story of one of our clients, Anthony Lowe. Mr. Lowe suffered a major stroke, and his situation should have been a straightforward one in which he applied for benefits and received them, but when COVID paralyzed the benefit system, he found himself at risk of not only losing his health, but also his home.
In this video, Anthony shares his story alongside his attorney, Lindsay. A year before Anthony found Open Door Legal, he was living next door to his mother, caring for her every day while working full-time. Let's hear about them now.
My name is Anthony Lowe. Do a lot of remodeling. I've been doing it for 35 years. We had a family business. Went to school for carpentry and another college for drafting. Me and my brother and my father, we had our company till he passed. My father passed in 2005. So me and my brother took it over. In 1980, I moved next door, 2-bedroom house, and we had to remodel it. And then he moved out in 84. So I've been there ever since. Since I was staying next door and she was getting older and she would call me all the time to do something, I moved in with her and stayed with her for a year, took care of her. I went to work and then I was taking care of her. That was my 2 jobs. She got kind of sick one night, and we called the ambulance for her, and it wasn't nothing too bad, but when she was in the hospital, it got kind of worse. And then she was gonna come home, but that morning, they brought the bed. Then they were gonna bring her, but she passed before she could make it home. Me and my brother and my sister got together, so we're gonna sell her house, and we started moving stuff. And then every time I would go over there, I get, I guess, emotional or stressed. And then not too long after that, I drove to San Jose to check on my motorcycle. And then I drove back, and I sat down with my friend, and I couldn't get up. I had the stroke, so I got kind of dizzy, and they called the ambulance for me, and I was in the hospital for 48 days. And then when I came out the hospital, the house was sold, and they moved everything out, and went and stayed with my daughter for, I guess, a year, doing my own therapy because they cut it off for the pandemic. But in the hospital, I had to learn how to walk again. But I did pretty good. I went from a wheelchair to a walker to the cane in like a week and a half. It was a trying experience, a shocker to me. I still have dreams about it. Only time I've been in the hospital overnight was when I was born. So we filled out the disability form, but I don't know, they didn't send anything back for the whole year of 2020. So none of my bills were getting paid for a while. Give me any information for the disability, or I didn't hear back from them. And there was a lot of stuff going through my head from stuff my mother, the house, bills, everything, which is good because I needed sleep, because that was a thing too. If for a stroke, if you don't get your sleep. So it had me kind of nervous there. I said, I can't sleep, even though I was trying. Could not sleep all night. Then I tried for Social Security disability, and then nothing happening there. And I think I contacted Open Door Legal in October.
My name is Lindsay Pace. I am the lead employment attorney at Open Door Legal. Anthony Lowe came to us in October of last year. Usually when somebody has a medical record that really demonstrates just how unable they are to go back to work, it's a good sign for a Social Security disability case. And so he should have been eligible for both short-term state disability insurance, which is available through the EDD. You can get that for about a year. And he should have been eligible for Social Security disability insurance with the Social Security Administration after that 1 year on short-term disability had ended. So he was eligible for both, but he was receiving neither.
And I ran down all my information to her, and she said we can work on it. And she took the ball and ran with it and came through for me.
Because he had suffered such a debilitating stroke, he was unable to fill the applications out on his own and follow all the meticulous paperwork that they require. Both of these programs, employment benefits and Social Security benefits, are supposed to be designed so that anyone can access them without any problems. However, that's just not what we see. A lot of people have a really hard time. It's a very meticulous area of law, and it's very insular, and there's not a lot of public information about how to get these benefits or like how to work up these cases if you're just an individual person. What I want to do for the client, because I don't want them to have to be stressed about the details of why Social Security is giving them a hard time. I want to take that on myself and just handle it for the client. For Mr. Lowe, we were able to supply enough medical evidence that showed that he was disabled at the first level of application. For him, we were hoping that we could get his case handled way before hearing, because even between the second level appeal, the reconsideration phase, and the hearing, the wait time is about a year. It can be 2 years. In COVID, it's been even longer. It's a very hard process for people to do on their own. We hope that more people come to us, because once you have the knowledge of how to navigate the system, we can help a lot. Mr. Lowe worked his whole life and paid into this system his whole life. He worked, a very hard, very vigorous job. He paid into Social Security disability, he paid into state disability, and he still is struggling to get these benefits after his body has kind of given out. And so it's very frustrating. Last holiday season, we received a number of gift cards for groceries, and I really advocated that Mr. Lowe get one because he essentially had gone, I think, almost a full year without any support of any kind, and he was really, really grateful. Maybe within a month after he got the good news that he was approved.
I'm able to sleep through the night, and a lot of stress is off me. A lot of pain has went away. Just can't stand that long. I feel a lot better. Before the first time we talked, I was kind of stressed out then. I would sleep maybe an hour or 2 hours, and I wake up, watch TV all night. But after when we talked, I was able to sleep all night. I didn't want to lose my house. I want to bring my recliner back and actually sit in it, but I just want to enjoy it. I haven't been in there for over a year. She fired me up. She showed me some hope.
Wow. It's crazy to think about the world of difference that just having legal representation could make. I mean, even though Anthony would have had what should have been a clear-cut case, it wasn't until ODL got involved that things were really cleared up in his favor. Also, we'd love to hear from you. If you have any comments or thoughts, put them in the chat right now, and we'll be sure to share our favorite comments throughout the night. So, now, we're gonna catch the T together down to Oracle Park. Nothing like public transportation in San Francisco.
Nice hat, Devin. Where did you buy it?
Thank you. You have to special order these, you know.
Oh, okay. Well, it's nice to be at inside T-Train for the first time in a long time.
Especially when it's so empty. It's
weird. No one's going to the game today?
I know, just us.
Just us. Well, we'll have the park to ourselves.
I know, and look at it. Here we are now.
Perfect. And it's a lovely day to spend the afternoon watching the SF Giants. I sure miss baseball and cheering on my home team. As someone that grew up here, I think, in my opinion, we have the best fans. Oh, hold on. I think I just received a text message. I think everyone got one. Can you check if you got one? To get us all in the spirit of generosity, our first ask tonight is going to be one in which we ask everybody to participate. Teamwork is one of our core values at Open Door Legal. And we know that to prevent 100 families from losing their homes, we're going to have to work together. You will each have a text message with the link on your phone right now. And we're going to ask each of you to give $15. If you give $15 right now, we will have raised enough money to keep one family in San Francisco.
Yes. So, Gio, I mean, here I'm looking at these concession prices. $15 for a vegan hot dog? Are you kidding me? I mean, I don't know, what's the last thing that you spent $15 on?
Well, I did buy those boxes of donuts the other day from that shop near the Excelsior, remember?
I do, because there was a vegan one in there for me.
That was worth it.
Totally.
So $15 is something that most of us spend on a daily basis without thinking too much about it. You should have gotten a text message. Tap the link you were sent, then make a gift, then tap $15. You will be able to make multiple pledges throughout the night, but your credit card will only be charged one time.
Yeah. So Gio, going back to the whole $15 thing, I mean, what have you spent $15 on during COVID?
I would say probably toilet paper, since it was sold out everywhere.
That's a very good point. I actually probably should have spent $15 on toilet paper myself. I think for me, it was mostly just like ordering food. That was my thing.
I can relate. I went a lot to Tacolicious on Valencia, and they had to-go cocktails and $15 tacos. Worth it, worth every penny.
I'm about all of that. So I haven't heard of Tacolicious though, but okay, since we're talking about taquerias, so controversial opinion, right? Street tacos versus burritos.
Street tacos, 100%.
Okay. We can keep being friends because I vibe with that, okay?
Period.
So, okay, let's go on to the next controversial opinion. What type of protein?
I love carnitas.
Okay.
What do you like?
So I can get down with some carnitas.
Okay.
But I'm more of a pastor man myself. Like I like that spice in my life.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I love ordering from Gracias Madre, if you've heard of that.
I have not.
No? Okay.
No.
It's also in the Mission. Super good. Definitely recommend it for the last time.
And I see a comment from JC Robles saying, that's my boo. Shout out to my husband.
I also see we have some donors, which is great. And I just want to give us a quick totalizer update while we're here. So I see that we have $6,727, so that's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, Gio. I mean, we're thrilled to share that we've already hit our goal.
Wow, we're excited to say that we have raised far more than enough to keep one family in their home. So let's say thank you to some people on the screen. We have Wendy Liu. Shout out to Wendy Liu, Aisha Romero.
We got a Kelsey, we have Jessica and Aisha also,
Yeah,
right?
so thank you all for getting to the spirit of giving.
Yeah, totally. But now, what do you do whenever the place that you've called home for nearly 3 decades is almost taken out from under you? That nightmare became a reality for one woman named Teresita Pobre, a Filipina immigrant who moved into her home in the Bayview with her husband and daughter in the mid-1990s. Let's hear her story now.
Hello to everybody. I am Teresita Pobre. I arrived here from Philippines to America 1998. I was born 1942, raised up and educated in the Philippines. We moved here November 1, 1994. Not too long, by July 30, my husband Artemio passed away in 1995. The house is so important to my daughter and to me because this is the only one we can afford at the time. And this is the last gift my husband told me that he can afford to give it to me. When we were able to buy a house, there is a backyard. So artists used to play house there at the backyard. And I could also plant. And we're happy that way. My neighbor even called it forest. I like it because the trees and leaves give me oxygen and get off the carbon dioxide. Also invitation of nature, the birds. This summer, I think my daughter saw already the bluebirds coming back, the butterfly roaming from the front to the back. And that's our happiness now. When my husband passed away, I don't know what to do first. I don't have work. And then the school give me a job. With the money that I get, my husband left, we pay for that, for the mortgage, and later on one check for the house and one check for saving for the taxes and a little bit for our miscellaneous food, gas for the car. It's so hard to budget as if to be a rubber band that's so stretched. It's almost breakdown. It's really breakdown when I was not able to pay. I become a bad creditor. Less than 2 years, Adolfo bought that house next door, and we become fused. They're Mexican and Filipino, but it seems to be very close. So he used to call me like grandmother. When Adolfo find it out that this was foreclosure, he called his agent who let them buy the house. That day, we find out it was already sold. I said, huh? My house has been sold already?
My name is Adolfo Gonzalez. I live next door for the last 4 years. I came to this new house and she introduced herself, so she says very welcome to me. And after that, we have good. The first time I knew about the problem with the house is when one day by coincidence I was outside. A man came to looking for Teresita and she was at home. He cannot contact her and he asked me for a favor if he I let her know her house was on action the same day when they came to notify her. Supposed to be been notified before. I don't know which way, I don't ask. And I've been surprised myself because I never see any information or any another related information about this situation. After that, I contacted Teresita and I asked what's happened. And she told me about the bank and everything. I talked to my real estate and I say, what do you think? And they say, I'm not sure, but it looks like they don't did it the right way because they sell so fast. And only one person, they went to the action when it's in San Francisco. And they should be at least 20 people when really is a foreclosure.
My name is Adrian Terzinati. I'm the executive director and co-founder of Open Door Legal. Ms. Pobre's case, complex matter. She bought this home in the Bayview with her late husband in the 90s. For 25 years, made payments on the home and saved up over $700,000 in equity and started falling behind in payments. And her bank foreclosed on the property without telling her, sold it for $50,000 to an investment group, sent her a check for 1 penny to represent the kind of lifetime earnings she had put into this home. And then the new investment group had moved to evict her. And that's when she came to us, facing this eviction, having lost her home. And so we were able to, pause the eviction, investigate the case. We did a lot of discovery with the bank. We discovered that they lacked the legal authority to foreclose on the home in the first place and actually knew about it, but decided to foreclose anyways.
It's her house. She lived for 20-something years. It's not fair. Where she can go? Where she live? Where she move?
So we just keep praying and praying with that. We're working hard. I know they're working hard with.
And after several months of litigation, we're able to essentially settle and get the title back in her name, get damages, get all of her equity restored, and she was able to pay off all of her credit card debt. And then we were able to write a trust so that she could pass the home down to her kid. So she went from being almost homeless to owning almost $1 million asset.
The dream is still continue. They give my husband and my daughter. Up to this time, I can believe what Open Door Legal helped me to get back our house.
There's about 100 foreclosures a year in San Francisco. During the 2008-2009 financial crisis, that had actually gone to 500 to 600. And according to a study done by the Assessor Recorder's Office, 84% of foreclosures in San Francisco were done with a major legal violation, meaning they could have been avoided, at least in part, if people had been able to get legal help, but it's very difficult to get legal help. There's very little funding for legal aid groups like ours to do foreclosures on behalf of low-income residents. I think that sort of narrative is that it's largely the homeowner's fault, right? And so why do people need legal help? But our experience with Ms. Pobre and the data suggests it's not homeowners' fault. We have all these kind of protections, due process protections, homeowner protections, but when people aren't able to get legal help, they can't actually enforce them, right? And so banks can sort of just use that to strip wealth out of the community and impoverish longtime residents like Ms. Pobre.
And I cannot forget the Open Door Legal, which did all their best to help me. And I am very thankful for all these things they have done to me and my daughter.
When we founded Open Door Legal, our vision was to pioneer the country's first system of universal access to legal help. And what that meant was we were going to focus on one community at first and sort of saturate demand, ensure everybody could get legal help for any kind of legal problem they faced. And so we kind of rapidly expanded into family law and consumer law and foreclosure and housing law and employment law and a whole variety of other things. And then essentially as our funding expanded, we started serving more communities. So now we actually serve 3 communities within San Francisco and are managing roughly 800 cases a year. In the next 2 to 3 years, we hope to finish scaling citywide, make San Francisco the first city in the country with universal access to legal help, and then become a model for national replication. We believe that you can't really divorce justice from poverty, right? And that actually the most cost-effective way to address poverty in our community is by ensuring everyone has access to the law. And we want to basically pioneer this in San Francisco's communities of color, show how effective it is, and then scale out. We aim for nothing less than changing how we as a society think about poverty and how we deliver justice to people who are oppressed, marginalized, and to our neighbors of color. And in this, we will not be deterred.
This is such a touching story. It is hard to imagine what would have happened to Ms. Pobre if she hadn't been able to get help. Open Door Legal is the only nonprofit in San Francisco that does foreclosure defense. And like Adrian mentioned, a 2012 study showed that 84% of foreclosures in San Francisco were done with a major legal violation. Without legal help, it's likely that all these people lost their homes.
Yeah, I mean, 1 out of every 5 households who rent in SF is behind on their rent due to COVID. And when the eviction moratorium expires, they're at risk of being forced out of their homes. That's why we are thrilled to announce our Zero Displacement initiative. The good news is that because of our relationship and track record within the community, Open Door Legal is in a unique position to help improve these evictions and present them. So, through a combination of outreach, tracking, and legal services, we're going to work to ensure that nobody in our community loses their home due to COVID.
Yeah. This initiative holds a special place in my heart as Bayview is my home. Bayview is the neighborhood that ODL began in and one of the communities that has seen the highest rates of COVID in the city, where many of the most financially vulnerable people live. My home means everything to me, and many of my neighbors, people like Teresita, are going to have to fight tooth and nail to remain housed. But thanks to that generous donor we mentioned earlier, we are going to be receiving a match for every gift of $3,000 and more tonight. $3,000 helps ODL prevent one family from being evicted. You should have gotten a text message just a moment ago with the link to give. You should do that right now. Let's raise about $73,000 right now, or about 1/10 of the equity that was almost taken from Teresita.
Yeah, so Gio, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these comments coming in right now. So I can see here that we have one from, I think, Sil, saying that he's loving that I'm vegan now. I'm doing it for you, Sil, honestly, and nobody else.
Yeah. And then we also have David G. watching from Carson City, Nevada.
Wow,
Thank you
that's
for joining
awesome.
us. Yeah.
Widespread reach. So I'm seeing from Become, it says that these stories are amazing, beautiful and human and inspiring and courageous. That's honestly very kind of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and then we have Joanna Hartwig. She's saying, go, 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 citywide. Yes, that is our next goal for sure.
Cool. Well, okay, so Gio, going back while we're on the topic of staples in the community. So you know I'm from Texas, right? I know that we have a couple staples of our own. So Willie Nelson coming from Austin, right? Hometown favorite. Who are some hometown favorites of SF?
Carlos Santana, for sure, one of the top. Robin Williams also was a big part of San Francisco.
Forgot about that. Miss Doubtfire, can't forget, right?
Yep. And do you know who Danny Glover is?
You know, maybe if you told me who Danny Glover is, I might know who that is.
Danny Glover is a famous actor, Devin. He was in Lethal Weapon 1, Lethal Weapon 2, Lethal Weapon 3.
And so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so funny enough, I do know who that is because I definitely binged the Lethal Weapon series during COVID. He was also part of Predator, if I'm not wrong?
Yes, the Predator, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So you did know who he was, you just didn't know his name.
That's also true.
All right.
Okay, so we have Danny Glover.
Well, you can probably say you know someone famous now. That's kind of famous.
Who?
Myself. I'm like hosting ODL's biggest event of the year. I mean, I think that's pretty famous, and I'm on TV.
Yes.
So
Let me get your signature before the night ends. Make sure everybody does at home. You can probably find it on our auction. Okay.
So let's take a look at where we're at.
Yeah, oh my God, $913. Wow, numbers. So I know
yeah.
I can see that we have stuff coming in from Zach Turner,
Alex
Lim, Erica Chun. Thank you guys so much for all your donations.
Totally. So speaking of people on TV, I think someone's here.
Yeah, I know. Hold on. Let me go grab them.
Oh, okay, you're gonna get them right now? Okay. Well, on that note, we do have another famous San Franciscan joining us today. She starred in a famous TV series filmed here in San Francisco and lived in one of the most photographed and fullest homes in the city. I think you all have seen her before. Oh, and I think now we're at the Peanut Ladies. Oh, hey. Hey.
Hey dudes. Thank you for the introduction and to ODL for inviting me to share an evening with them. My name is Stephanie Tanner, and growing up in this city, I've seen the Bay change so much. Some changes have been good, some things I do miss. For instance, I love having a new shiny building, the Salesforce Tower, especially when it lit up with the Eye of Sauron for Halloween. Shout out to all my Lord of the Ring fans. However, I miss the Raiders being in Oakland. I've seen the rise and fall too of Candlestick Park and of every pop-up restaurant. And to the new BART trains with the quarter of the seats that we used to have and none of the cushioning. How rude. However, the one change that I have seen that warms my heart is the addition of 3 new legal offices, all with the name of Open Door Legal, and all of which stand by the city that I love so much. So, when I was asked to come speak at their Grand Gala, all I could say was, "You got it, dude."
Well, thanks so much, Stephanie. While you're here, do you want to help me update everyone at home about how much we've raised so far?
Yeah, oh my God, so
Oh,
look
the
at
numbers
this
went up.
totalizer. Do you want to handle these numbers this time?
Yeah, so it looks like we're at $98,913.
Yeah, not
That's
as
a
easy as it
big
looks,
number.
huh? So, I mean, it looks to me like we've raised that much, right? Which is great. I mean, have mercy. So, you know that staying at home is really important to me. I mean, since I'm like 10 years old, but I'm so glad that, you know, we get to be a part of keeping others at home and safe too.
Yeah.
But, oh, I mean, sorry everybody. I hear Gimme Gibbler annoying my dad, so I gotta go.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for joining us, Stephanie. Well, on that note, we have a real chance to meet the needs of our neighbors and see it that nobody has to lose their housing due to the pandemic. We're so excited to partner with you to make this vision a reality. So let's see our totalizer. We have Misha, we have Zach Turner, Alex Lim. Shout out to you guys and thank you guys so much for your generosity tonight. So let's go ahead and move on to our third and final story for tonight, which comes to us from Kishima, who almost lost everything that she held dear during the pandemic, including a home that she built with the love of her life, Maurice. Maurice had a stroke and she moved in to take care of him right before COVID. Let's hear her story, shall we?
My name is Kishima Johnson. I am the partner of Maurice Austin. I am 47, will be 48 in October. Maurice and I met at McAteer School of the Arts. He had graduated in August. He saw me walking across the courtyard. He noticed me, so I went and sit where I normally sat, and in walks him to speak to the teacher. And he walked to the back of the classroom and waited till the class was over, and I happened to look up and our eyes caught each other. So when I walked out to go to my next class, I'd have to walk by him. So I got up to walk out and he asked me, "Do you have any candy?" And I was like, "No, I don't have any candy." He said, "Well, then can I have your number?" And so I gave him my phone number. So yeah, that was his line. I was 15, he was 19. We didn't start dating then. It was maybe like 6 or 7 months after that. We started dating until I went off to Texas to go to college. 8 years later, I came here. I had 3 kids. Was back in school. We had a mutual friend, went to their house and was sitting on the couch, and he goes, "Hey, when the last time you talked to my boy?" And I was like, "Oh, it's been a long time." And he said, you know, I saw him about 6 months ago, and he asked me about you. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah. He was like, he told me he had been looking for you. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. And so he said, if I can get in touch with him, would you mind if I call him? And I said, yeah, that's fine. The next day he called me, and that was in 2005. And we've been together ever since. His mom had to move. She had some health challenges, so she had to move to Georgia. Like within a week, I think. He wanted to live alone, but he couldn't. He just could not. I mean, he could do things for himself, but it was so hard for him, and it took so much effort that he really needed someone to be with him. So wrapped up things in Texas, just kind of take care of him. And then January came, I was doing school, and then this pandemic. We were locked in here, helping him during the day and also doing the virtual, which I made a classroom in the bedroom. That closet door became my backdrop and my whiteboard, and just me and him, we'd go to the grocery store or Walgreens, and for us it was, heavenly. Then, watch TV, movies, and just ate ourselves into a coma. And just kind of watch the world go by, When he worked on the ships, he would take pictures and he would send them to me, of different scenes and things that he would see. Every morning, of course, he would open the window because of the view, but also because he can actually see the ships. And so, we would have those conversations about it. He really loved it. He really loved being a longshoreman. He was very proud of it. He just didn't think that there was this big virus, going around, and, that it was really causing that much of a havoc. I say that because the only reason for him to believe that it was actually happening was for him to catch it. But we got ready. I got up the next morning. He did come in and sit at the table, but he really didn't, he was just kind of not himself. So I was thinking maybe he's catching a bug or something, and he just said, I'm just not feeling well. His pressure was high Saturday. Sunday, I cooked and tried to get him to eat. He just a little bit. His pressure was high again, and so I was like, do you want to go to the hospital? No, I'm fine. I said, if you continue, I really would feel better if you would go to the hospital. So Monday morning, I got up, and I noticed his breathing was really shallow, and we took him to the ER. I dropped him off. Of course, I couldn't go in the hospital, and it's about 3 hours later, I called and they told me that he had tested positive for COVID. He was responding. He was able to talk. So Wednesday night, they put him on the ventilator. Thursday, they tried to take him off. He wouldn't wake up, and it just didn't get any better. His body started to deteriorate. Friday morning, they begin to say, things like, we're just not sure. We think that, COVID is just, taking over, and we don't think he's going to, we don't think he's gonna make it that night, Friday night. Do you want to see him? And I said, yeah. She said, I don't think he's gonna make it. And so, I had to go to let him know that I was gonna be okay. I had a song that that was his song, and I played it on YouTube, and I just told them, things that, only I could tell him, and that were only for him, and thanked him for loving me, and that, I would be okay, that he could go. And then we found out that a management company was saying that 14 days after he passed, that we had to move out. One of the maintenance guys came and said that they were going to change the locks on the door if we didn't move out. And so I called them and I said, well, are you going to allow us to get our things out of there? And they said, no, if you don't move out, we're going to change the locks at 5 o'clock. So it just so happened that one of the guys, the maintenance guy who he sent to change the locks, knew Maurice. And he told him, he said, I can't do that. I just can't do it. My stepson had a friend of a friend who knew about Open Door Legal, and he reached out to him and he gave him the number. And I think I called you the next day, called the office, or the day after, and spoke with someone, and then you guys called me back. It was just like, I just felt like my whole life, my footing, what do I do next? How do I even plan? Where do I even start? And so for me, Open Door Legal was just the surety I needed in that situation for me to begin to start rebuilding and doing some things, It was like a plan or blueprint of what could happen. In each step, these are the options that we have. And so, I'll walk you through each one. I'll tell you, what your options are if you need this, you need that. If you need help financially or, all of those things she gave to me. And then it was up to me, what options that I had. Very clear about if, they do evict you, then we'll find you somewhere else. You're not going to be on the street. That was one of the things that really helped. I was able to get my grandbaby a first birthday party, so those are the things that I was able to devote time to, which also helped me in healing. I actually wrote a book. I just needed to tell our story, and I needed to tell it from my point of view. I believe that it was his way of telling me that he was okay and that he expected me to do what we said we would do. Help is available, they just have to ask. Everybody needs help. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know, what rights I have. That's not my profession, but I can definitely ask a question to see if, I do have rights. Today is June 27th. It would be Maurice's 52nd birthday, and we are going to turn it up just like you would want us to do. Love you forever.
Wow. Kishima's story is so full of heartbreak and resilience. It really is hard for me to talk about it without getting choked up, especially to think that today would have been Maurice's 52nd birthday. So, for our final ask of the night, we want to end on a strong note. We have already raised over $100,000 and worked to prevent 50 families from losing their homes. But we still have 50 more households to go to meet our goal. You can check on your phone now for one final message from us.
Yeah, so let's check out a few more comments as we start to wrap up the night. So we have from Michael Dotson, "That's right, thank you Adrian for dreaming big. We do what we can to help." Then we have one from UCLA's The Illest, "So many tears." Who is that? I'm gonna need you guys to identify yourselves. Cynthia Harris, "Wow, I wish I had gone to law school. Hope you can expand to East Palo Alto and Eastern Menlo Park."
Yeah, I know, and here we have one from Lori Ventura saying, "Kudos to all the wonderful teamwork at Open Door Legal. Wonderful success story. Thank you, Mom." That's nice.
So for our final ask, we want to raise an additional $125,000. That represents about $3 for every household that is behind on rent due to COVID in San Francisco. Remember, we still have a generous donor who is matching every single gift of $3,000 and above. Help us finish this night in the strongest possible position to keep families safe at home.
Yes, so now let's check the totalizer and then let's scope out the scene at the Conservatory of Flowers.
Oh, hey, Chad.
Oh, hey, Laura Lindsay. I haven't seen you since they shut down the campus when COVID hit like a harsh serve on some netball.
I know, but it's great that we get to work from home. I haven't worn real pants in like 17 months, just me and my leggings.
Cha. But I feel like bad for those people that I read about in the papers, you know, who can't afford their rent because they're laid off or something because what happened with COVID, you know, like totally bummer.
I know, and I thought missing out on music festivals last year was bad, but I cannot even imagine what people are going through.
Cha, I know, it's so not hyphy. But I heard someone talking about this awesome org, Open Door Legal, at the juice bar at my boot camp class in the marina this morning. They apparently have offices in like the Bayview or Excelsior and like Western Edition.
Yeah, I heard the same thing at Yoga earlier, and they have this cool zero displacement initiative to make sure that no one impacted by COVID gets displaced. I will definitely be donating to them and maybe even invest my cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be bidding on their auction items. I really hope I win that yoga and or French class with their cute attorney, Devin.
All right, well, let's check in on where we are with giving for the evening. All right, so let's add in the totals from our sponsorships and registration donations to see the total we've raised tonight. Drum roll. The amount is $335,067. So thank you all so much for your incredible generosity tonight. We are over the moon.
Yes, you know, because I'm a yoga instructor on the side, I'm gonna lead us in a little visualization. So if everybody can close their eyes, imagine what the sun means in the lives of our neighbors. Put yourselves in the shoes of Anthony, Kishima, or Teresita, and imagine knowing that there are hundreds of people who are eager to help you. That you could finally feel safe. You could finally exhale. Namaste.
We have kept hundreds of families in their home and their communities. Woo! Woo! Okay. All right, let's celebrate. So cheers, and cheers to you all at home.
Yes, and wow, Gio, just imagine all the good work that we can keep doing with that. And just a reminder to all those who haven't gotten to bid on our auction items yet, our auction will be open until tomorrow night at 7 p.m.
Yes, so thank you all so much for joining us today and making our mission of free legal access a reality. Thank you for helping to ensure that the law belongs to all of us.
Yes, so thank you everyone for spending this time with us. Until next year, good evening and buenos tardes to everybody.
Cheers.